one of her advantages. Aside of that, she doesn't have many things. However, I really do like her jump CD. I feel it's really good. It's her hurt box and the blocks that she does on it. It's really good.
All right. Okay. Killey?
Um, she has a very unique move set. Um, Very different from most any other fighting game characters you'll see, like her core circle forward A, even her DP, moving her forward quite a bit, like very unique maneuverability, command dashes. Um, she has like really interesting juggles and some interesting mix-ups off of it.
I mean, that's true. She's a very unique character. Very different than your average Shoto or standard character in KOF, like your Hwajais or Joes. Her moves, her set of moves. She's got a counter. She's got the EX teleport, and command grab, which she can pretty much follow off every one of those moves. And if a player is not familiar with her, that if they don't have enough experience against playing against her, they can definitely be defeated by those things.
Yeah, she can just run a train against people who aren't familiar with the matchup. Like, especially if the Elisabeth player knows the mix-up game, she has a lot of those weird cross-up, non-cross-up setups. And if people aren't familiar with it at all, they just get run over so quickly.
Yeah, and I've seen that happen with players that, the top players, middle skill players, low skill players that, they just say, oh, I didn't even know that was possible. They're like, I never played against an Elisabeth player. So, it's probably good to have a pocket Elisabeth, just kind of learn the basics. And, I kind of do that sometimes. I actually did use Elisabeth a few weeks ago at the run back against Shinkoto, who I had not played in a while. And, I just said, I'm just going to try it, see, how familiar he's with the matchup. And it actually worked in my favor at that time. But then again, if they're comfortable against Elisabeth, they're familiar with their moves, characters like Yori or Mr. Karate, EX Yori can just kind of like maul her, just run right through her.
All right, cool. All right, very, very nice. All right, let's get into some weaknesses or disadvantages, and I hope there isn't like a scroll or whatever of disadvantages. And why don't we start? Go ahead, Oscar.
I would say her main disadvantage is that she does not have a command move. Well, she does have a command move. She has forward B, but that only connects after a C or a standing B or a standing C or down C. Well, after a strong move into a combo. I would really like to have her, and let me rephrase it. I would really like to see her have a down B, down A into a forward B to connect to like a uppercut A, at least uppercut A. So she lacks that. She has nothing unless she starts off a strong attack, like a C or a D. Unlike characters like Mr. Karate, who can go from a down B into a full combo thanks to his forward A, or Yori, who can also go from a down B to another full combo like 400 or 500 if you know how to do the free cancel off a down B. I think it's ridiculous that she doesn't have that. And when characters like Mr. Karate have two command moves, Mr. Karate has forward B, which he uses mostly after a standing strong, but then he has the forward A, which can connect after a low hit. But Elisabeth doesn't. I think that's one of her main weaknesses.
You saying that, it kind of reminds me a little bit of kind of how Shin is made up, right? With his kind of heavy attack into his 4B into whatever, and he doesn't really have that much he can do from a low attack.
That is true. That's true. He can pretty much just do down B, stand B.
Right.
And now he has the ability to go really easy from down B, stand B into HD combo, which Elisabeth lacks range on that. Mm-hmm. She's got minimal. If you ever seen her, her standing D, it's like
Oh,
She just
God.
steps on her toe, on the other toe, you know.
Right. Okay.
So,
Killey?
Yeah, her main weakness is she's got no range on her normals. Like, it drives me insane how her crouch D has more range than her crouch D. Like, that makes no sense to me whatsoever. And then, yeah, her close stand D range is just awful. The nice part, it hits low, but I mean, you compare it to characters like Karate or EX Kill or Eerie, where they have a stand B that hits low and has good range, and then you get Elisabeth, where you have to be like point blank. It's garbage, right?
that's
But
true. Her normals are not the greatest too.
yeah, like they don't. Most of her good range normals don't have. They're either too slow on startup, or they don't have enough active frames, or they have weird activation ranges. Like I'll get into it in her normal section later, but yeah, that's kind of her main weakness. I would love to see her to be able to special cancel off of her crouch B. I think that would have been really nice.
Off the crouch B,
Yeah,
like down B, uppercut A.
yeah, like that would be so easy of a hit confirm. Then having like crouch A has limited range too, right? So sometimes you have those weird whiffs, right? Or crouch B has so much range. If you could go crouch B, uppercut A, I would be really happy with that.
That'll be cool. That'll be nice because you can do down B, down A, uppercut. But you know, sometimes if you're a little farther out, it's gonna whiff.
Yeah,
the upper down A has minimal range.
Yeah, like the crouch A will whiff sometimes, or the link timing's a little bit awkward.
That's true.
Okay. Any other weaknesses that she has that may come to mind?
Not many defensive options. Like her reversals are pretty bad. Easy to bait out, and basically any character who has better hitboxes, like better range on their normals, can beat her out pretty easily.
What do you think about her wake up game?
If they're not familiar with her wake up game, it's pretty decent. But if they are, it's super easy to bait out all her reversals. And most people don't realize her EXDP is incredibly unsafe on block.
Exactly. Plus, it has no invincibility. It's got like minimum invincibility. But
very minimum. Like you can trade or get beat out.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
You can beat it or trade it. Yeah. So I think that's another one of her weaknesses. Her wake up game. She pretty much has nothing. She's got that EX teleport, but then again, you need a meter. With no meter, she pretty much has nothing. Yori can do his combo C4A Rekka, ground her, and then jump C safely again and again because she's got nothing. She can do a teleport, and that's about it. And she's got a meter, and if she doesn't, if they guess right, they bait it, they would bait your counter. You're just wasting meter, and give them a free opening again.
Pretty much. If her normals were slightly faster, it'd be easier to deal with because at least you could like anti-air the hops or something like that.
Yep, Yori can do a lot of times. Yori can do EX. Yori can do a standing C as a wake up, just standing, which is lovely.
All right, okay. All right, well, why don't we start talking about her normals? And we're going to start with the standing normals. And the first one is Stan Light Punch. And, just to let y'all know, when we talk about B and D, why don't we say light kick and heavy kick? Because it may be kind of hard to hear, like, B and D, you know what I'm saying? Like.
Okay.
Yep, that's cool.
Yeah. All right, cool. Start with Stan A, and Oscar, you can go ahead and take it.
I would say that standing A is probably her best normal. You can use it as an anti-air, like if opponents who are hopping, trying to attack you, trying to dash in. Besides that, it's got very little range. She can combo off of it, but due to the range, it's really hard. And so now think about that, and then I'm telling you, it's her best normal.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a good poke for checking hops. It whiffs on crouching opponents, except for like Raiden. Uh, so yeah, like you can throw that out to check hops and jumps and stuff like that, but you have to be really aware of your spacing because if they read it, they can just do a low normal and hit you out of it, right? So
Yeah, the hitbox it's pretty high, so it'll
yeah,
whiff on a lot of. I know it whiffs on Yuri for sure. So I'm sure it's gonna whiff on a lot of their characters. On crouching opponents.
Okay. All right. Next is standing B, standing light kick, and Killey, you can tell us about this one.
yeah. This normal has no range. You have to be really point blank. She basically just kicks you in the shin. Um, it hits low, so that's kind of nice for a standing normal. But yeah, if the range was better, it would be an amazing normal. But as it stands, it seems like there's very limited use from it. It's like an easier hit confirm in like low B or low like kick combos. But other than that, not a whole lot of use.
All right.
Yep, I agree. It's worthless. It's like useless pretty much. There's no reason why you should be pressing standing B with Elisabeth. Like I don't see any other scenario other than to be used as a frame trap and maybe like an opponent who's getting up from the ground. But outside of that, no range at all. It's pretty worthless and yeah, shouldn't be using standing B.
Okay. All right. Next is standing C, and Oscar, you can share with us. What you think about this
Well,
one.
standing C, the closed version of standing C, I like it. I think it's pretty fast. It's pretty solid and allows you to combo pretty much. That's her only strength where she can go into damaging combos. However, it does whiff sometimes, and it gives you the far C, the whiff C of her standing C, which is horrible. It stays out there forever. It's got a lot of recovery and um, I think you can combo. No, you can't combo off her RC. No,
You can special cancel RC. So
oh, special cancel. There you go.
yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, the Far C I don't like it at all. It's got a really weird hitbox because it kind of does like two hits, of like one, and then she takes her hand up, and that's supposed to be another hit, but then it whiffs a lot of the time, so it's pretty bad. I do like her close standing C though.
yeah. Close stance is really good. Again, it's the kind of same principle as stand A in like pressure situations where you can anti-air the hops and jumps. Then it's her like best hit confirmed normal because you have like all day to go into forward B afterwards. But yeah, the only downside is like if they range themselves properly and you're pushing stance C, you'll get far stance C instead. And yeah, the startup on far stance C is really slow and it has bad recovery on it. So if they're hopping on you or like pressuring you in the corner, and then they bait out the stance C and do like a super jump or a normal jump, and you get far stance C, you're eating a combo. Like, that's the main downside.
Yep, yep, yep.
Okay. All right. Next is standy, stand heavy kick, and Kylie, you can go ahead and tell us about this one.
Close stand D is kind of pretty versatile in terms of it can anti-air, and it's kind of used in part of her mind game with the command grab. The main thing I would like to see with stand D is if it would actually activate a little bit farther off. You have to be pretty close to the opponent for close stand D to come out, and then in certain ranges, it actually whiffs on crouching characters. So there's some issues with it, but it has some pretty good applications in terms of anti-airs and mind games with the command grab. Far stand D is like is a pretty good poking tool. It actually raises her hitbox up, so it goes over low attacks. It can actually go over ground fireballs like Yuri's, Kill, Cherry Bogart. So it's good to like smack them out of the fireballs at close ranges, or if they're mashing on crouch B, you can go like crouch B, far stand B, and if the opponent's just mashing on normals, they'll get tagged by far stand D, or if they try to hop at that moment, they'll also get tagged by far stand D. That being said, though, very slow startup, lots of recovery times, actually not too safe on block, so you kind of have to be wary of when you use far stand D.
Mm-hmm. I'll agree. Standing D version, I'd like to use it on certain scenarios and for certain setups, especially when my opponent's in the corner. I try to delay it a little because if they try to jump out or backdash in the corner for some reason to get out, probably a command grab or something, you'll get the vertical, the heavy hit box of it, and it'll hit jumping opponents. And if they stand there, you can follow up with a combo. But then again, it does whiff sometimes, and especially against crouching opponents. Now, when you get the far version of it, it stays out there. Again, it stays out there forever, giving the opponent with an opportunity to get combo you there. Yeah, and she does have lower bound invincibility on the far D, and goes through fireballs, and it's a nice poke. I agree with that, but you can't be abusing it too much because the startup, it's not really fast, so people can see it coming and just jump right on top of it.
All right, cool. All right, next is did we go through all of the standard normals pretty much?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to crouching, and we're going to start with crouch A, crouch light punch, and Oscar, you go ahead and start.
Yeah, this one, it's pretty good. You can go into uppercut A after this, or EX fireball. Again, minimum range. Nothing too exciting about A. It's just your average down A. Nothing different than any other character.
Yeah, pretty much. It does carry better frame advantage on blocking the crouch B, so you can sort of use it in like frame trap games and stuff. But since it doesn't hit low, you mostly want to stick to crouch B for hit confirms and crouch A.
Okay. All right. Next is crouch B, crouch light kick, and Killey, you can go ahead and start.
This is probably one of her best normals. One of her best crouching normals, if not the best crouching normal she's got. Has the most range. It's pretty fast. It's plus on block. It's kind of good for the run stop pressure of the crouch B, run, crouch B. The only downside is it's not special cancelable. It would be really nice if it was special cancelable. Lead it on into their combos and pressure scenarios. But since you can't, you kind of have to rely on confirming it to that crouch A or try to frame trap and crouch C afterwards, that kind of thing.
Yep, I'll agree with that. It's probably her best crouching normal. It allows you to set up her down B standing C link. It's kind of hard to do, and it's only in certain scenarios, but it works, a lot of the times. It allows you to go into a HD mode, down B, HD activation, which is a lot easier than doing down B, down A for some reason. So you do a down B, and HD activation. Besides that, I think the range is not the greatest, and it's not special cancelable. But it's pretty good. I recommend using it a lot.
Okay. All right. Next is crouch C, crouch heavy punch, and what do you think about this move, Oscar? It looks like it's kind of like a little ground anti-air, right?
Yeah, it does work as an anti-air. But however, the startup, it's a little weird. She does this kind of like two-step move which pulls her arm in and then goes up again for some reason. It's really good anti-air. Um, it'll trade a lot of times, but you'll have the advantage, and then you can go into like a Grand Raphael. Um, I kind of like the hitbox. You can use it to go into combos. See, a lot of players, most of the time, they're looking for a standing C. And like we said before, standing C, a lot of times it whiffs. So maybe instead of doing standing C, you want to do a crouching C to avoid that error. That way you won't get that accidental whiff on the standing C. Um, yeah, and then again, you can go into her 4B and then take it from there.
Yeah, I think my only issue with Crouch C is the startup's pretty slow on it. So in terms of anti-airing small hops, it's not as reliable for that in comparison to close stand C or stand A. But yeah, definitely if they start changing their jump angles of normal jumps, super jumps, Crouch C is better off for that.
Okay. All right. Next is her sweep crouch D crouch heavy kick and Killey. Yeah. What are your thoughts on her sweep?
Not that great. It has less range than her crouch D. Makes no sense to me on why that is. You basically only use it in like if you're making certain reads on your opponent or during like the footsie game. But other than that, there's not really much use. I haven't really found much use of crouch D.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. It's horrible. I don't see why you should be using a down crouching D. Yeah, if it whips, like the recovery is horrible, startup is horrible, the hitbox on it is horrible. It's got minimal range. Yeah, the hitbox goes only like all the way to her knee, not even like the full range. It's pretty bad. Yeah, I don't see why. Like even as an anti-air, if you catch somebody jumping in, try to like down D, nah, it's not bad. No.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. We're gonna move on to her jumping normals, and we're gonna start with jump A, jump light punch. And Oscar, what are your thoughts on this one?
I like her jump A in combo situations. By itself, just a regular jump in attack. I don't see it as the best option. It's a good option, but not the best option. But in her combos, it allows you to reset a lot of times and go for different mix-ups.
Yep, pretty much agree with that. Like outside of combo situations or reset situations, you really just don't want to use your jump A unless you're going air to air against someone. And if you make that read, you don't make that read, you whip that jump A, you're going to get anti-aired.
Okay. All right. Next is jump B, jump light kick, and this is her little knee move. That's pretty tricky. And Killey, yeah, what are your thoughts on this one?
I love her jump B. It doesn't have much range, but it's very like in combination of her small jump arc. It's a very tricky move. It sets up a lot of her cross-ups. So you can do things like jump CD, hop B, and it crosses up if they're crouching. You can kind of vary it up with her jump D and jump B to kind of trick opponents on whether things will cross up or not.
Right. I think I don't know what do you think, Kelly. I think it's her best jumping move. It's probably the safest, at least. Again, it's not as tricky as the arcade version. I mean, probably you guys remember back in the arcade version, you could cross up B and then try to mix up the opponent, and you would another cross up B, and that's where it got really nasty. And unfortunately, it's been removed. I mean, but it's still really good. You can still set up some cross up situations. You can go into her full combos from a jump in B. You can make it safe on a lot of the scenarios. However, I think there's certain moves that will definitely beat it, even on a safe situation like Kim's EX flash kick.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, it's a really good jumping in normal, especially off a hop.
Okay. All right. Next is jump C, jump heavy punch. And Oscar, what are your thoughts on this jump attack?
Actually, I think it's a pretty good jumping move. It's not the greatest. I think it's definitely usable in certain situations, in certain mix-ups, certain combos. Um, but aside of that, it's not the greatest move to go in. However, I still would use it in a certain scenarios locations.
Yeah, it's not bad in air-to-air situations. Like there's certain air-to-air situations you would use jump C in that I found anyways. But as an air-to-ground approach, I don't find it particularly great. It doesn't have much active frames, so you kind of have to time it late when you're approaching air-to-ground. So um, you have to be really careful with the timing of it. Otherwise, if you try to like combo afterwards, if you hit it too high, it won't combo at all. Like not much hit stun on it. So otherwise, yeah, in her jungle combos, it's pretty good. Does probably the most damage out of her jumping normals, besides jump CD, and then you can go Grand Raphael from there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Next is jump D, jump heavy kick. And yeah, Oscar, what are your thoughts on this one?
I like jump D as a neutral. A lot of the times, people are trying to jump in. If you just jump in, jumping neutral D, it'll beat a lot of the moves. A lot of people don't know this actually, and even if they're not jumping and you land on top of them, you can follow up with the combo. The hurt box, it's pretty good, and the stun box. The stun damage on it is pretty good too.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably one of her better ranged jumping normals. So in like air-to-air situations, jump D is kind of one of her go-to moves, and one of her good air-to-ground approaches. The hitbox isn't too bad. I wish I had a little bit more vertically. It's actually like people who miss space if they get crouching normal anti-air pretty consistently if they don't space it right.
Okay. All right. Next, we're gonna go into her stand CD. And Killey, how do you feel about her stand CD?
It's not too bad. It's a little slow in startup. Like she does this little ballerina spin before she does this thrust kick, but it goes over lows, kind of like quad drives. And it carries a pretty good hitbox. I think it's kind of underrated in that aspect. It carries a pretty huge hitbox on it. So it's kind of good in that neutral game. Plus you can whiff cancel in the middle of it. And you can do some pretty tricky stuff with her command dash or her DP, where you can do stand CD and then cancel in the middle of it into one of those moves to either approach your opponent or catch them off guard. Like in the zoning game, like people who throw fireballs, you can DPC through fireballs, but if they space it right, you can't. But if you use her stand CD, you can actually extend the range and then cancel into DPC and actually punish fireballs that would normally be safe.
I like her standing CD. I like the range you can get out of it. Standing CD. I'm sorry, the range you can get out of it. However, the startup, it's not the greatest. You can use it in certain occasions. If you get a counter off of it, you can go into DPA and then Grand Raphael. Outside of that, I don't like using it that much. Maybe I haven't exploited it as much as I should have. But I don't know. The startup part is that kind of turning me off on that.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely slow on startup.
Okay. Next is jump CD, and how do you feel about this move, Oscar?
Oh, I really like it. I really like it. It gives you a lot of block stun. Block, that's the word I was looking for. Block stun. If the opponent, if you jump in do it low at the lowest point so the opponent can block it, you pretty much have all day to go for another and mix up, cross up, or maybe another jump CD. And the hitbox and the hurtbox, the active, how active it is, I like it. It's one of my favorite jumping moves from her.
Yeah, jump CD is probably one of her better jumping normals. It's her best air to ground approach, just because it carries a really good hitbox on it, and very active, and lots of frame advantage on block, so you can set up all those mix-ups or continue the pressure. On counter hit, it like all other jump CDs, it has that extra juggle property. So from mid-screen, if you hit them with jump CD, you can actually transition into like into DPA combos. In the corner, it gets really nasty because you can actually go into your core circle forward C juggle and then full juggle combo off of there, which does a significant amount of damage into a reset situation right after.
Right, that is correct. And yeah, if you get a counter and your jump CD, it's going to get nasty, especially in the corner. Actually, even mid screen, if you have again, it's Elisabeth, you're going to need some drive, some meter. But yeah, if you get a counter off the jump CD, that's when the game starts looking good for her.
The only tricky part is you have to have a really good eye for confirming off of those stray counter hits.
That's true.
Okay. All right. Next is her normal throw, and what are your thoughts on her normal throw, Oscar?
Normal throw. Again, a lot of the times I try to go for a throw, and for some reason with Elisabeth, I would get the whiff C. I would get a whiff C. It's really good. I don't know. Nothing special. Nothing more than the average throw, but unfortunately, for some reason with her, I would get the whiff C a lot of the times.
Yeah, I get that same problem too.
It
does suck. I would like it comes with a soft knockdown too, and you can't set anything up afterwards, so that's a little bit disappointing. Like she doesn't really recover in time to do even like a roll mix up or anything like that. So.
Yeah.
All right. Next is let's talk about her command move, the forward B, forward light kick, and y'all talked about this kind of in her summary a little bit, and how do y'all feel about this move? Killey, you can go ahead.
It's pretty much one of your basic hit confirms off of either stand C, close stand C, or close stand D. And then it leads into her juggle combos from there for DPs. On its own, it's not good. It's really slow startup, and it's really risky to use it on its own. And yeah, that slow start is kind of an issue because, as Oscar mentioned before, it'd be really nice if you could go from crouching normals into forward D to start better damaging combos.
Yeah, that would be the perfect scenario. If she could go from a low crouching normal to her 4B. Again, the startup on it and the hitbox, it's pretty weak. It's really slow. Now, a lot of the times, and I learned this from Bala back in the day, if you do a whiff cancel A into her 4B, you can actually combo. It gives you the combo properties. Even if the standing A doesn't hit, just the 4B by itself, you can get an uppercut B, uppercut A or uppercut C if it connects. But outside of that, I don't see any other use for it.
Yeah, I don't really see any other use for it either outside of combos.
Okay. All right. We'll move on to her special moves, and again, I can't pronounce any of her moves or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna, try. So yeah. Well, we start with quarter circle forward punch, and it's her little swipe attack. And Killey, yeah, you can go ahead and start, and then Oscar, you could go after.
Yeah, it's one of her best specials. It just controls so much space in front of her, like just slightly above her. The A version is the faster version, and it's really good at controlling the space in front of her and like anti-airing. The timing on the anti-air can be tricky though, so people can kind of maneuver and counter her afterwards. But if they're not spacing their approaches right, they get hit by the A version. And depending on how you hit them, like if it anti-airs or counter hits, you can actually transition into her DP afterwards and continue the combo from there. In the corner, I like the A version for sort of pressuring, like to kind of threaten them. So if you're standing just outside of their footsie range and you're throwing quarter circle forward A, if they push a button at the wrong time, they get hit, like a counter hit. Oh man, you can go into the quarter circle forward C and then full juggle combo afterwards and do lots of damage in 2 resets.
Yeah, definitely one of her best special moves in the game. I like how you can get a counter off of a lot of situations. I know it's really strong against characters like Billy, who's just trying to poke you with the jump C or down A. You get a counter off of it. Then you get, that opportunity going to from an uppercut A to like uppercut A, drive cancel, EX fireball, and then do the whole thing. Recovery, it's minimal. So, I mean, it can be punished if they see it coming, they read it, they know you. But I like to spam it all. If you see some of my videos, I'll just spamming it. When I feel like it's a little unsafe now, that they're seeing my pattern, I would sometimes mix it up with the C version, which stays active a little bit longer. So if they try to bait it and then jump in or do some sort of move, the active box on the active frames on the C version it's longer there, and therefore you'll either trade, you'll beat their move, you'll beat their jump in, and a lot of times you get a juggle off of it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, let's get into her EX version of her quarter circle forward punch. And yeah, Oscar, you can go ahead.
I think it's a really good move. Unfortunately, it uses one drive. The damage on the guard meter. So you'll drain a lot of their guard meter. It takes like at least 30% if they block one of those moves. It allows you to create a lot of their opportunities for combos, longer combos, extend her combos. Let me see what else. In the corner, it's really good. It's really safe. What a lot of people don't use is do down B, down A, EX fireball. She recovers before you, so you can before the opponent. So I'm not sure exactly how many frames, but if you do down B, down A, EX fireball, you can actually do a standing C for free, and the opponent will still be on block stun. And then again, that'll be another mix-up. Extend her block string. It's a really good move, EX fireball. But that's if you're in the lead, if you're attacking. On the defensive side, it's horrible. It's horrible. You cannot, it cannot be used as a defensive move at all because they'll beat it on startup. And yeah, nope, don't use it.
Yeah, you can't really use it as a reversal. If you make the read or you react quickly enough, you can sort of use it as an anti-air. But yeah, pretty risky if you miss timing. You'll just keep jump and combo. But yeah, it's positive on block. So yeah, so it's really positive. I think it's huge. Like Oscar said, you get a free stand C right afterwards. On hit, it puts them in a good juggle state, so you can actually do DPA afterwards, mid screen, or even in the corner. You can go quarter circle forward C and get full juggle combos off of it.
Okay. All right. Next is her Dragon Punch, and it's Dragon Punch. And Oscar, what are your thoughts on this uppercut looking move?
Well, the fact that you can do uppercut A into uppercut A, I like it. It gives you the opportunity to go for mix-ups, resets. Damage, it's minimal. It's not as good as it was back in the arcade days, but it's okay. And I think it's the best part about it. It's the possibilities and the opportunities to go for mix-ups and resets after it. As an anti-air, it's horrible. I mean, I know it's an uppercut, but you shouldn't be using it as an anti-air.
Yeah, it has no invincibility whatsoever. At least the A version does. Like, you can't use it as an anti-air. It's more of a combo tool as well as checking people pushing buttons. Like, you can sort of use it as a frame, not sort of frame trap, but like when they think they're safe, you just throw it out there. They might not expect it, or they're throwing a button out, and then you can hit them out of it, and then transition into juggle combos, resets, whatnot.
And I think it's safe on block, right?
It's a little bit minus on block. It's very hard to punish. Like, very few people can punish it.
The heavy punch version of it, it's probably her best version of the uppercut because it gives you that juggle possibility, and especially in the corner, you can do a lot of damage. Unfortunately, you can only combo into the C version of the standing C for a B or standing C, or if you try to bait, a jump, or somebody pressing buttons. I mean, that'll trade, and it's got no invincibility. The active, I mean, a lot of people think it's invincible during the little teleport she does, but she's not. You can actually punish it. If you're just pressing down B, down B, down B, you'll beat it every single time. So it's pretty good to go into combos, but aside of that, I don't see why. And it's got more recovery than the A version. I know that for sure. That you can punish pretty easy, and most of the characters can do that. But outside of combos, I don't see why many people should be using it.
Yeah, I think it has slightly brief invincibility on the startup, but not during, like, afterwards. That's why, like, people who are spamming crouch B in anticipation, they'll stop you just as she's reappearing. But yeah, it's mostly a combo material. The only time you'd use it outside of combos would be against fireball characters. Like, if you time it right, you can actually go through a fireball. And depending on how they space it, you can actually punish them for throwing that fireball.
Yeah, I think I've used it to go through like Ash's fireball. Like, if you time it at the right time, like when it's about to hit you, you do it. You can go through the fireball, but it's not that easy. It's not like
the timing is tricky. It's actually really tricky to time that.
Okay. All right. Now, let's go into the EX version, and Oscar, you can go ahead.
EX version. Again, it looks pretty flashy and like it's scary. I know I'm talking. It looks it's scary. It's EX and it's coming at me with everything and shining and flashing, but it's not that. Yeah, it's not that great of a deal, man. Again, you mash down B, you'll beat it. It's got minimal invincibility on startup too. I mean, the benefit of it is that you can go into a combo. Probably the best example is just go to a half a circle forward C, do her fireball C, and then go into a few uppercuts after that. Damage, I think it's pretty good damage too. It's like 125, 150, something like that by itself. But in a combo, I don't think I would use it. I don't think I would use it in a combo.
Yeah, like in a combo, you're already going to be hitting them with like stand C into forward B, so there's no point in wasting the meter there because you want to use the meter for the draw cancel combo. It doesn't have much startup invincibility on it. Like, you can stuff it, you can trade it. It's still startup, not the same startup as the A version, so you can safe jump it, and a lot of people don't realize you can punish the EX version, like standing C or whatever to HD. It's a free HD combo if they block it, but a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, that is true. You were mentioning that earlier. Like, if you block her uppercut C, she's very vulnerable. She's there. She stays out there for a long time. She can actually punish it. And a lot of people don't because they think it's an EX move. They gotta stay there and block it. But no, and it kind of sucks that everybody's probably gonna know that now. But yeah, if you block an uppercut, EX uppercut, man, she's open there. I mean, you just gotta react fast enough, and it doesn't have to be instantly like with some other EX moves. It's just like you just gotta see, oh, I blocked it. Okay, let's go.
All right, cool.
We'll get Desmond to edit that out. Just keep that secret between us.
Censored.
Yeah. Well, one of the things, I'll give you a little tip, a little trick I do with the EX uppercut. I use it as an anti-air. I know everybody will think like, no, don't use it. It's horrible. Probably Killey, you're thinking, yeah, why would you do that? Don't use it as an anti-air to beat the opponent. I use it as an anti-air to trade, because if they jump in, you hit them, they're going to go into a juggle state. So they are going to they're going to take the damage, but then again, it all depends on the strategy, how the rhythm of the match and what's going on. But maybe sometimes it's probably worth it. Take the little trade. They're going to go into that juggle state because it's the EX version. So if you are able to react quick enough, and I've done this before in a few tournaments, you can follow up with the Fireball C, and then go into a full combo. Because a lot of the times they're not going to fall for just you're trying to look for that random EX uppercut or that perfect opportunity to land a combo with her. I mean, that's what I kind of learned with her, that you're not going to get those opportunities to go into those clean combos. You're just going to have to look for the best way and make the best out of it. A trade opportunity, all right, I'll take it. And then if I could create something from there, well, here we go. And the EX uppercut is one of those great tools.
Yeah, it gives you like so much time to hit confirm from it, because it just launches them straight into the air rather than the CNA version, which launches them forward. So yeah, you get the full core circle forward C combo from there. Yeah, I didn't know about that anti-air. I actually gotta try that out more often. Otherwise, it's just kind of like run up and hope they push a button, go and just do random EX uppercut and hope for the best.
Yeah, especially when they're jumping in. The thing you can just jump in randomly, and because I mean they're facing Elisabeth, your opponent. They're thinking, yeah, what can she do? Well, she can't beat you, but she can trade. And then when she trades, you're in the opponent's in the air. It's gonna juggle them higher. So that's why she's able to recover, and then still is able to go into that combo.
Wow, that sounds pretty dirty. Cool. I like it though. All right. Why don't we go to the next special move? And this is her core circle forward kick, and this is this her kind of a little teleport dash move, right?
Yeah, a lot of people say teleport. I just call it the step. I'm like,
step,
because it's not a teleport, it's a step. That's what I call it, but everybody calls it teleport.
But yeah, you can go ahead and start, Oscar.
Yeah, okay, so teleport. Now, let's call it teleport for the sake of everybody who's listening to this. It's not really a teleport, but she's not invincible at any time. So she can go into the other command moves from it. It gives you a little more range. You could probably use it in some mix-ups, some situations. If you're attacking your opponent, you're in the offensive, you can create situations when you go into like C4B teleport. The opponent is blocking. They see the little teleport. They're like, oh, what's going to happen now? You should delay it. Wait for them to come out of a block stun, and you go into a command grab. That's another setup, but they can recognize that after a few times. But I'll definitely work the first time. And every here and then. But besides that, she does the back version. I'd like to do the back teleport randomly when I have my opponent in the corner. Like if they're trying to jump out of certain situations, if I do like a teleport back and then Fireball C, and they're trying to jump forward, I will catch them with the Fireball and then get a juggle state out of it, and opportunity to create more combos. But that's she's in defensive. On the defensive side, it's really bad. Like it's really bad. And when you accidentally get it, because sometimes you accidentally get that if you're trying to go for like EX teleport, which is better. But on the defensive side, teleport's really bad.
Yeah, you can't use it as a reversal or defensive tool at all. It has like super brief lower body invincibility, but if people are just spamming a crouching normal, you'll get hit out of it anyways. Or if they do like a crouch D, the long active turns will tag you out of it. The only really useful use for it is like approaching the opponent, the forward version of it, and then throwing up the fireball A to kind of control space in front of you if they try to like rush in on you. In some scenarios, like what Oscar was describing, you can go like stand heavy punch, forward light kick, the teleport, and then cancel into fireball or command grab. If you delay it a little bit, you can try to go for those counter hit setups and then transition to a juggle combo from there. The backward version of the teleport is kind of mostly in the neutral game I use it for, to, as Oscar said, to catch jump-ins. You go backwards teleport into the fireballs, and if they try to jump at you at a bad angle, they'll get tagged by it. Or you can go teleport backwards into for DPs. So if you got them in the corner and you're pressuring them, you can cancel into the backwards teleport. Wait briefly, if they push a button, go into DP A or C and try to tag them out of it as like a whiff punish.
Okay. What's up with the EX version?
The EX version is brand new to the console version. That's like one of the buffs she got. The EX is very unique in that when you do the EX version and you cancel into any of her special moves afterwards, it automatically becomes the EX version of that special move without the additional meter cost. So for one bar, you can go EX teleport into like EX fireball, EX DP, or EX command grab, which is really nice. It also carries full body invincibility briefly, so it's kind of like sort of one of her better reversal options. So on knockdown, you can wake up EX teleport and then try to go for EX command grab or EX DP afterwards, hope to catch them in something, and then transition into a combo from there. But outside of that, I don't have much use for it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely her best wake-up move. On the defensive side, it's probably one of the only moves that I'll use as a reversal. If I'm getting up or I'm getting rushed down, EX teleport, like Kelly said, full body invincibility goes to pretty much everything. The best part about it, I always agree, is that you can cancel to another move and you get the free EX version off of it too. So that's great. I think that's probably one of her best features in general. Then it also allows you to create some really pretty tricky setups in the corner. And I like to do this one in the corner where you go to, if you're able to get your opponent in the corner and you are able to get the full uppercut combo, you go uppercut, you end up with uppercut A, hop back A, and you're gonna end up at this perfect distance. So you're gonna get him in the air. You're gonna hit him. You're gonna jump back, and with your jump back, you hit him with the A. Hold on, there's somebody. Hold on. Okay, never mind. Yeah. So jump back A. You're gonna land at the perfect distance where you're gonna do with A, EX teleport, and you're gonna land at very fun. So they're recovering from the air. They're landing, and as they're landing, you're right back in there with the EX teleport. So you're right at their face again, and they're in the corner. So they're going to do either two things. They're going to block or they're going to jump. But a lot of times they're going to think it's the EX version. They need to block, but it's not a move. So they're not going to go into block state. Wait, then you go into the command grab. So you get the free EX command grab, and then again you go for uppercut C, blah blah blah. The drill. Now, if you get them with that once, they're gonna be like, oh wait, he grabbed me last time. I'm just gonna jump out of it this time. what you do, you mix it up, and after the command, I mean the EX teleport, you go into EX uppercut. So if they're in the air, you're gonna get the EX teleport. Then again, you're going to full combo. So that's a pretty neat 50-50 setup. I remember Bala used to hate it. He used to call it the answer special because every time I get him in the corner, I would go for that. After a while, he kind of figured out a few ways to escape it, but even he had a really hard time trying to figure out how to get out of that setup. But yeah, if you guys are using Elisabeth, try to do that. You know, put your opponent in that situation where you'll land right in front of them with the EX teleport. And you will cancel it at the very last frames where you're able to cancel it. Go either EX command grab or EX uppercut. It's pretty much going to be a 50-50 for them.
Oh man, that's pretty dirty.
Yeah, man, I was about to say, man, that should be that should be censored, man.
yeah, that's a really nasty setup. That's probably one of her best features there, and I've used that multiple times at matches.
Right. Okay. Well, next on the list is the backwards teleport with quarter circle back kick, but y'all kind of mentioned this a couple of times. Y'all think it's worth going into, or y'all think we should move on?
No, I think we should just move on. It's pretty much, we think we covered it.
Yeah, we covered it already.
All right, cool. All right, why don't we go into quarter circle back punch, and this is her kind of little counter move. And Killey, you can go ahead and tell us about this one.
The counter. Yeah, the A version counters mid and high, if I recall correctly, and then the C version counters lows.
That's correct.
It's not fast on startup, so you can't really use it as a reversal to try to escape. It's very situational, I find. I like it in the Billy matchup, because when they're throwing like forward A or their long pokes, you do the counter mid, and then you teleport behind them, and then they're stuck in the whiff animation of they're carrying out the rest of the move, and then you can get a full combo, like full back turn combo into a cross-up set up afterwards. Other than that, it's like very specific matchups you would use it in. Otherwise, yeah, I don't have much use for it outside of that.
I think, like you said, there's a benefit that you can go into a full combo after it if you're able to bait a move. And again, you're correct. A version, it's a high counter. C version, slow counter. However, there's a problem when, let's take this example. Mr. Karate, you try to counter his standing C, right? So he does C, but most of the times, and most of the players would automatically go into forward B. So you will counter the first part, the standing C, right? She'll go into the other side. But the messed up thing is that the opponent, it's still going to have the priority, because that forward B is going to autocorrect to her side, and then she's going to be on the defensive. That's happened so many times to me that I kind of stopped using it. And I'm like, another, weakness of that move, unlike Mr. Karate, he can counter fireballs off the counter. He can do have to go back A, boom, you counter fireball. She cannot counter fireball.
Yeah, even Chin can counter fireballs with his counters.
I mean, like, okay, why did, Chin can counter fireballs too. Whoa, yeah, I mean, okay, guys, we're giving counters here, and yeah, she cannot counter fireballs. So it's like, okay, pretty pointless. And then she can follow up, but it's not a free follow up. And especially if you counter a version, like a normal standing A, they'll recover way before you end up on the other side. And even if they recover at the same time, you would have to try to follow up with like a down B or something, or standing B. Like, yeah, a lot of the times after the counter, you want to go for a standing C. That's what you want to do, because that's where you're going to get the most damage out. But if you counter a normal, like a jump B or standing A, they're gonna recover a lot before you're able to have a chance to attack.
Hmm.
It's a little pointless.
Yeah, they're at the advantage if you counter like a light attack. You're basically trying to counter a special move, a certain special move, or a heavy normal where they have long recovery time. But making that read or that reaction is not easy, especially because it's not instant startup. So you can't really do it on reaction against certain things. So it's very limited.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What can y'all tell us about the EX version of this move, Oscar?
Well, EX version definitely a little better. Again, you cannot counter fireballs like Mr. Karate. You get like a super fast overhead, but it's pretty good. You can follow up with an uppercut C or a fireball. You know, unlike the arcade version, which was perfect, where you would get a freestanding C off of it. You know, you can now only go into like uppercut C. Probably is the best scenario, and you know, get some damage off of it. Let's see. Again, you cannot counter fireballs. It's lower A again, and this one it's both. It's a high and low counter. It's full body, so whatever they throw at you, you're gonna be able to counter. But then again, if you counter a weak, like a V or a light kick or a low punch, a lot of the times they're going to be able to recover before you, so you got to be careful with that.
It actually puts them in hit stun, doesn't it? Like when you counter anything with it, even if a jumping attack, for example, like in the normal counters, they just recover normally. But with the EX version, it actually puts them in like hit stun. So even if the light version, I think they get stuck in hit stun, and that uppercut C should be free. But I could be mistaken.
Yeah, no, I've gone a lot of the times where I'll counter a down B, and they're able to recover a little faster. It does put them in this little weird animation, but I think they're still able to recover faster. But yeah, most of the times you're able to. You just got to be a little more cautious and be more aware of what you're countering. If it's down B, try to, as soon as you go out of that animation, going to the other side, just already buffering, you know, your next move.
Yeah, the timing on that uppercut C is a little bit tricky too. If you like miss time, it doesn't come out, or it comes out too late, and they can block it in time. Yeah, I'm kind of miss that they nerfed that from the arcade version. Like I said, you get that full stand C back turn combo, and it's just perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next is her command throw, and this is half circle back forward punch. And Killey, you can go ahead and explain this one.
Yeah, her command grab. It's not one frame. It's kind of slower. I can't remember the startup on it. So you can't use it to kind of punish those certain scenarios like quad-eyes, dragon tails, or anything like that. It has its applications. I mean, it's part of that rush down game, causing your opponent to either think of high-low or command grab. When you're kind of rushing down, like that running command grab mix-up, you can interchange with like close stand D. If they try to jump out, they get tagged by close stand D. And then you can go like Grand Raphael afterwards. That's part of her like mind game with it. I don't really notice any difference between the A version and the C version. They look pretty much identical to me in terms of startup and knockdown and all that. It does cause a hard knockdown, so you can set up some mix-ups afterwards, like the roll mix-up, and they can guess between left or right, or she has some cross-up setups with that. She even has safe jump setups off of it as well. So not too bad, but again, since it's not instant startup, it can be countered.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think there's a difference between the A version and the C version. When I'm playing, I like to go for the A version though, because if for any reason I don't do the correct input and I get a whiff move, I'm gonna get the A version instead of the whiff C version of like a normal. Like if I don't do the correct input and I get a normal instead of the command grab,
Hmm.
I'll get an A instead of a whiff in C, which stays out there forever. Um, it's not one of the fastest command grabs in the game. I'm pretty sure Yuri is a lot faster. Clark's. Uh, but then again, it allows her to create more mix-up opportunities. Which those command grab characters have. Um, and the damage is pretty good too. Yeah, it's like 125, 130, if I recall.
Like
And
150, I think.
there you go, there you go. Yeah, it's pretty good. And again, it allows for you to create that closed game, mind games like where if your opponent pauses for a second and you're on top of it, you grab them. So yeah, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good move.
All right, nice. All right, next is the EX version of this move, and Killey, yeah, can you explain this one?
The EX version, it's 2 frames faster than the A and C version, and then it does 50 less damage, but it launches them straight up into the air, unlike the A and C versions. Like the A and C versions causes a knockdown, but the EX version causes like a juggle state. So you EX command grab and you get a full juggle combo afterwards. So um, pretty good
Yeah,
in any. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but does it have any invincibility? I'm pretty sure it does have some
It
invincibility.
looks like it, right? I'm not entirely sure to be honest, but yeah, it definitely does look like it has some invincibility on it.
hmm Yeah, again, this is probably one of her best moves. But then again, you have to use meter, which kind of sucks. But yeah, it allows you to create opportunities for combos in the corner and mid screen. And actually, in the corner, you can go into another uppercut C. So not just a fireball, so you can go uppercut C and then go into the fireball. And mid screen, you can only go into fireball C. And in my experience, um, this from me playing, I like to go into the command grab, but I like to get it off the teleport, the EX teleport, because you're gonna get it a free move anyways, right? So EX teleport has full invincibility, and when you cancel it into the EX command grab, I do feel that there's some invincibility too, because I've caught people off a jump in. They're trying to hop in, and I go into the EX command grab. They'll whiff, and I'll grab them. So on a attacking situation where I'm in the offensive, a lot of the times you'll see me just going to EX teleport just to get that little extra more invincibility, and then carry it all the way through to EX command grab. But then again, some scenarios won't allow you to do that. It's best when you're in the defensive, and especially on a wake up.
Yeah, it's kind of iffy on wake up. You obviously want to use it in with the EX command dash or teleport, and then try to catch something there. Uh, if you have the extra meter afterwards, you can actually go EX fireball, and then transition into the juggle combos from there. And actually does a lot more damage that way. But again, you need an extra bar for that.
Yeah, I mean that's what Elisabeth solved. I think in general, like we said earlier today, Elisabeth is mostly about having meters. Again, she does build meter pretty fast if you're in the offensive. Um, but again, her general game it revolves around having meters.
Okay.
Yeah, she seems much more of a meter hog in the console version than the arcade version, and her combos does build meter, but then they nerfed her meter build on the fireballs. Like in the arcade version, whipping those from full screen, you're just building tons of meter from that.
Oh yeah, I remember just spamming fireball A,
Just
fireball
spam it.
A,
Great.
building meter.
All right, very nice. All right, why don't we move on to her desperation moves, and we're gonna start with double quarter circle forward, and punch, and this is her little spirit bomb move or whatever that she has around her or whatever. And Oscar, you can go ahead and start.
Well, coming from the arcade version, I think they've improved this move a lot. I remember back in the arcade, it was pretty much useless because it will trade with everything pretty much. And this time, both versions, the normal and the EX version, have invincibility, and a lot of people don't know that. And if they jump in, if you're trying to catch them with a jump, you can use that as an anti-air. I really like it. I would use this super as an anti-air. Every time I have an opportunity, if I could, if I have the meter, of course. And also, I like to use it to punish some moves. For example, if your opponent is, a lot of times it's Ash. Well, not a lot of times, but if it's facing a character like Ash, who's throwing fireballs, or Psyche, who's throwing fireballs, and they have you at this range where they want to have you, and just at the distance where you're not able to jump in because they're going to do flash kick, but you're going to keep spamming fireball. If you're able to get a little closer and bait that fireball, she takes a little step forward, right? So she's going to get that little extra range plus the full invincibility. So she's able to go through a number of fireballs and punish some characters, and where a lot of people don't even see it coming. Mr. Karate is another example. Mr. Karate, you see a lot of people just whiffing fireball A, fireball A, and you just can't pretty much do nothing. Fortunately, Elisabeth, I mean, outside of that, she's one of the few characters who can just, okay, you do fireball A, and boom, here you go. Super.
Yep, pretty much agree with that. It has good hitbox on it. It's kind of fast, so good for like an actual reactionary anti-air. Didn't know too much about the fireball counters, except for the EX version, where it will actually travel forward. So yeah, you can, at certain ranges, you can stuff people in the fireball war. But yeah, the normal version, didn't know that little bit of info versus fireballs.
All right, cool. And let's go into the EX. What are your thoughts on this one? You can go ahead, Killey.
EX version is faster, and then after she actually like launches the fireball at her opponent. I think they nerfed this one from the arcade version, because I think it used to push them to the other end of the screen, and it doesn't do that anymore. So depending on the distance, you can actually get punished if they manage to block it. But really, you're looking at doing this as anti-air in certain ranges to beat fireballs. If you want to blow the meter for that, or basically her HG combo.
Yeah, definitely. They did nerf her. Back in the arcade version, she'll drag their opponents all the way to the other corner, like really quick. Now the fireball just goes through them. So depending on the distance you're in, they're going to be able to punish it. I like it. It's pretty fast. It goes through most projectiles and super projectiles. It's pretty useful also as an anti-air. And as a combo ender, yeah, it's not that bad. You'll probably get, if you 100 or 150 extra, but then again, it's 2 meters.
Yeah, basically like close out a character or close out a match if you want to blow that meter.
Okay. All right. Next move is her. I think I can say this. The Grand Raphael or
Raphael.
Grand Raphael. All right, and that's quarter.
I think that's how it's pronounced. That's what I kind of heard.
Yeah, I know. Huh? It might be totally different than the way we're saying it and stuff.
Yeah.
It's French, but yeah, it's quarter circle forward, half circle back punch. And Oscar, you can go ahead and start.
Well, this super looks like an anti-air, but yeah, by no means it's no anti-air. However, I will use it as an anti-air sometimes too to get that juggle property off of it. They'll trade, but the opponents will go to that. It's kind of like that EX uppercut that I was telling you guys. You guys can do too. Now this one does have some invincibility. It has a little faster startup. So in certain situations, you can use it, and even if you trade, you're gonna be able to follow up. But this one kind of takes a little longer for her to recover. So a lot of times you won't get the juggle property. But then again, just as a normal super, it's anywhere juggle. So pretty much off of standing 8, if your opponent just hopping in, you do a standing A, boom, going super right away. Doesn't do a lot of damage, but like back in the arcade days, it's like 125 or 150, I can't recall. But it's okay. It kind of puts your opponents in check. Like, hey, you jumping in, boom, super right away. You're not able to follow up with another super like you did back in the arcade days. I think there's a way to get certain characters to fall for double Grand Raphael, but it's not as easy as before. It can go through some fireballs at the right distance. What else? And it's really unsafe on block.
Yeah. It's fast though. Like, it's actually pretty good for punishing certain moves that would normally be safe. I think like Jenny Mars, or no, Andy Zanikin. Like you can't punish that with anything Elisabeth has. Like Grand Raphael is like the only thing that can punish a Zanikin, a block Zanikin.
Zanikin, yeah, that's right.
Okay. All right. Moving on to her Neomax, and this is quarter circle back, half circle forward, light kick, heavy kick. And Oscar, you can go ahead and tell us about this one.
Yeah, well, like we said this a little earlier before we started the show. Her Neomax is one of the only two in the game that's a counter, which is a huge disadvantage in my opinion. She has to either bait you into a counter hit, and if you get it right, but if they bait you into doing the Neomax, oh man, you're just gonna waste everything. Damage wise, it's not bad. It's really good. It's really flashy. It's great. Probably one of the best Neomaxes in the game. But in a combo, unfortunately, if you use it as an ender, there's one particular combo where it's great. It's amazing. But if you're trying to use it as a ender for a lot of her HD combos, it's not worth it. Because then again, you have to use one super to go into that. If you would be able to go like uppercut A Neomax, or like Fireball C Neomax, it would be great. It would be really good. But unfortunately, since you have to go into another, so you have to spend 3 meters most of the time to get that Neomax, I don't think it's that great.
Yeah, the counter properties isn't great, and you have to be in HD mode to bypass it. So spending all that extra meter isn't that great. And really, for a touch of death situation, you need 4 bars for that. I'm guessing the combo you're talking about, Oscar, is where you do the EX Fireball, and then you cancel into Neomax right away, and you get the EX Fireball and the Neomax hitting at the same time.
Unscaled, yeah.
Yeah.
So again, if you're looking for a one hit kill combo, that's probably the combo you should be going for. But then again, you need to have 4 meters. That's very situational combo.
Okay, all right. Speaking of combos, we're gonna get into the combo section real quick. And what are some basic like bread and butters that an Elisabeth player should try to learn to kind of get her combo flow and rhythm down? And Killey, yeah, you can go ahead and start.
As a starting player, the easiest combo to get hold of is Fancy, Forward B, DPC, DPA, Jump C or whatever into Grand Raphael, or the low hit confirm, which is Crouch B, Crouch A, DPA, DPA, whatever. As you transition into more intermediate combos, what you really want to do is try to squeeze out as much damage as possible and get the full two DPAs off of the DPC, which requires the lowest juggle height from her DPC. And the timing can be tricky at first, but as you practice more with Elisabeth, you kind of instinctively know when to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll agree. Probably, the best bread and butter to learn is C, forward B, uppercut C, uppercut A, and then, it's up to you, either Grand Raphael or go for a mix-up. Down B, down A. I like down B, down A into uppercut A, and probably that would be the most optimal combo and the one that you should be trying to go for most of the time. However, I don't use it a lot. I don't know if it's just me or what, but anybody's having this problem too. But a lot of time, I would say at least 50% of the time, every time I try to do down B, down A, uppercut A, I get super. Get super off of it. So it's probably my input. So a lot of times I won't use it even if I have the opportunity. But that's probably the basic bread and butter combos you want to go for. In the corner, if you're able to get your opponent in a corner combo, you want to go C forward B, fireball. C forward B, uppercut C, fireball C, and then uppercut A. And then, it's up to you, the situation, depending on your meter, how much you have. You either want to go for super, a mix-up, a reset, whatever.
Okay, cool. Very, very nice. All right, next is HD combos. And basically, what are your thoughts on her HD combos? I know you talked a little bit about them, especially in her, when we were talking about her Neomax. But should someone try to learn, one of her HD combos or something, or what's up with the damage and the meter requirements for those, and executions and ways to start them up, and what do y'all think? What do you think, Oscar?
Again, a lot of people will probably agree with me, but Elisabeth, she's one of the most execution-heavy characters, execution-demanding characters. And now that we're talking about this, it's funny. I remember, pretty sure everybody knows Persona, right? The combo maker.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys seen his footage. He usually comes up with this little combo videos for characters. I've seen most of them, but as far as I know, the only combo video that I've seen where he puts the little disclaimer message saying tool assisted combos. Some of these combos are tool assisted. Execution's too heavy. And that was with Elisabeth. And I was intrigued about this combo video. I'm like, what is he gonna do that requires tool assisted mechanics here? So I'm looking forward to this video. I look at it, and everything I'm looking at, I'm like, what? Why? Why would you need tool assisted for what combo? I'm like, what combo is he trying to, using tools? Because that's probably what I'm trying to go for most of the times at tournaments, I'm like, what's going on? So I couldn't figure out what combos he was using tools for, and required tools he felt like were that execution heavy that needed tools, because I was trying to go for all those combos most of the time, and pretty much that's the only thing she's got to do damage. HD combo wise, I wouldn't recommend to go for anything other than, if you have 4 meters, go for that EX Fireball into Neomax all the time. If you have 3 meters, you probably just want to go into either Grand Raphael and the Neomax. It's probably not worth going into full HD combo. They're really strict. You require shortcuts and buffering at the same time. I know that for a full screen combo, you need to be doing her shortcut, uppercut fireball shortcut, then buffering into the fireball B, which you need to cancel again into another uppercut. So yeah, it's really execution heavy compared to other characters like XIII or Mr. Karate, where they just need to do fireball uppercut, fireball uppercut. I wouldn't recommend trying to go for any of her HD combos. I mean, even myself, every single time I have 4 meters, I will go for that. EX fireball, Neomax, boom, all day. And what do you think, Kelly?
Yeah, I remember that Persona combo video, and the only reason he needed tool assisted is in the HD combo, he wanted to squeeze out the second hit from the fireball C. Because normally when you, like in the corner, you go DP, fireball C, and usually you only get one hit when you cancel the DP into fireball C. And Persona, he's like canceling into the command dash into fireball C to just get that one extra hit, and that one is pretty tough to do consistently. So, yeah, that's the only reason he's using tool assisted. They're like squeezing out the one extra hit off of the fireball C. They're like, really? He's like, you'll never be able to really pull that off consistently in tournaments. So yeah, but in terms of her HD combos, yeah, basically her most damaging ones are execution heavy, not because of the motion. It's because you have to get them at a certain height with her juggles. Because her basic ones like stand C, forward D, HD, far stand C or close stand C, uppercut C, fireball C, and then you're constantly doing the A uppercut into C fireball, and you're repeating that. The tricky part is hitting the uppercut A into the C fireball in a way where it actually juggles properly. Because if you do it too high, C fireball whips, and then you just wasted all that HD meter. So that's the only reason why it's execution intensive, at least in my opinion. But yeah, if you can manage to pull that, because you get 3 reps of it, if you can manage to pull all of that, the damage is like 700, 800, or 3 bars. It's a kill combo with 4 bars.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. All right, good information. Yeah, that's something I kind of always wanted to know. But all right. Next is some kind of general tips on her, because y'all mentioned a little bit, especially you, Oscar, that she's kind of tricky, when it comes to the the execution requirements and stuff like that. And do any of y'all have any sort of like tricks or tips or shortcuts for some of her some of the execution for some of her combos and stuff like that? Because I know a lot of times people kind of have a lot of trouble with some of her cancels and drive cancels and stuff, and stuff misfiring. And is there anything that y'all willing to kind of share to kind of help some people out?
One thing I would recommend when people are doing fireballs with her, to do the fireball all the way up to the up forward position, whether you're on the left side or the right side. Just if you're gonna go for a fireball, do up carry it all the way to the up forward, end it there, and then press the button. Because a lot of times, if you're trying to go for a fireball and you get the uppercut, it can cost you a lot, because it also depends on the situation. But I had that happen to me a lot in the beginning when using her. Just trying to go for, zoning my opponent, trying to just keep my space, my distance with, fireballs. And then I would randomly get in a uppercut A or uppercut C, and that would completely ruin my whole game, my space, my situation, everything. So that would be one of the tips I would give people.
Yeah, like if you're trying to space or pressure with that fireball A, and then it just holds that forward input just slightly. So then when you do the fireball, you get the uppercut. It's really annoying. So yeah, you gotta end it in up forward. in her combos, the double DPA off of the uppercut C is a little bit tricky, just because you have to get the lowest juggle height, and this is required for all of her like drive cancel combos. The easiest thing for starting is you can whiff a standing B and then whiff cancel that into uppercut A to get the timing down. That can get a little bit tricky as well. You can do stuff like run forward slightly and then cancel into uppercut A to try to get the timing down. Eventually, you can sort of just, at least for me, I can eyeball it now, just off of that. But yeah, those are some beginning stuff for that. Drag canceling into her EX Fireball. A lot of people, when they start, they always complain that they're getting super because they'll do uppercut A and then they do the full Fireball motion and they get her super off of that. The easiest thing for the drive cancel combos is when you do the DP motion, you roll the stick to forward or up forward, and then you push the button for the fireball afterwards. So like you go DP, A, and then you roll the stick to forward or up forward right afterwards, and then you hit like A and C for the EX fireball. And you'll always, if you do it in this way, you'll always get the drive cancel into the fireball.
Yeah, again, and I would recommend going all the way up forward. Yeah, go all the way up forward. If a lot of times you get uppercut A and then EX uppercut.
Yeah, I got that a few times.
Oh, whoa.
Oh my god,
that's horrible.
That's like a game-winning combo too that you drop. You're like, ah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely costs you a match. Let's see. I think she's one of the only characters who can do uppercut A and to fireball A in the. I forgot what was it. In a non-HD version, yeah. You can drive cancel uppercut A into fireball A when your opponent's blocking. I think that was about right. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's been a while since I tried to do that. Another tip I would give people, it's try to use that EX fireball to drain your opponent's card meter. A lot of people don't even notice it, but if you just do like a basic block string, the one I like to do if when I have my opponent in the corner is jump CD, C4B, EX teleport, cancel it into the EX fireball, and then do a C4B uppercut A. That's going to leave your opponent, just that one block string, it's going to leave your opponent with about 20% of card meter left. So any other little blocks you do after that, it's going to guard crush your opponent. So a lot of people don't do that, don't go for that, don't consider her as a guard, crushing character because of her moves. But I kind of learned this through, experience and just trying to look for opportunities and figure out ways to, get damage. And so I know you're going to have to use a meter, but then again, if you're using Elisabeth off the bat, you have to, know that she's not going to be able to go on point. She's not going to be able to go on first position. Probably best, I would say she's best on second position, so that she's got a little meter and a little drive to work with. As an anchor, I wouldn't recommend her because she's very execution heavy, and if for some reason you don't have the meter and you end up with her as an anchor, it's not going to work out.
Yeah, you're going to have a bad time. Yeah, anchor, no. Cause, and you have to consider, who do you typically face in anchor situations, right? Like EX Yuri or EX, or Huajai or Kim, Shen. And those characters, they just maul Elisabeth. You can't have her in that anchor position. So, in my opinion, she's definitely best in the second position. You can put her points depending on the matchups, but best in second. That guard string that you mentioned, that's a really good guard break string. I think most people will get caught because they don't really expect it. But if they are aware, during the EX fireball that can actually guard cancel roll through it. You're still safe on block, but now you're not at positional advantage anymore.
Right. Now, what was it gonna say? Oh man, I forgot. Man, I'll go back to it if I remember.
All right, cool. All right, why don't we move along a little bit to some kind of like strategies and tactics in different ranges, and why don't we start with we're gonna start with far range, mid range, and close, then cornered, then you're in the corner or whatever. So yeah, why don't we start with far range, and Oscar, yeah, you can go ahead and tell us different things that you like to do offensively and defensively at a far range from your opponent. Then you can go to mid and close and stuff.
Okay. Well, at far range, I like to spam. Like I said, I like to spam out a fireball. I will mix it up, here and then with teleport back B. Just if people are trying to jump in, how you get the little space, the perfect spacing to get that counter or get that entire fireball A, and I'll mix it up with the fireball C eventually. I like to do with standing A, forward B into uppercut A, or uppercut C depending on the situation. Jumping neutral on my space, on my area. Jump B, just if they're jumping in, I'll go up, jump up, early D, or if they're getting close, I'll just jump neutral and try to land with the D version. Yeah, that's kind of how I like to play my far range.
Pretty much the same with me. I always like to take the beginning of the round to kind of gauge how my opponent is. So I like to stay back and build meter with the fireballs, alternating between A and C versions in case they decide to rush in and jump. And if they space it poorly, you should get caught by that, and then you can go juggle DPA into mix-ups or whatnot. And then it's just kind of like that neutral game of jump B as checking their space, or stand A to kind of anti-air toss and stuff like that. But basically, you're just trying to play that neutral game, looking for that opportunity to rush in.
Okay. What do you guys like to do at mid-range? Killey, you can go ahead and start.
Mid-range, the fireballs aren't as effective. They're still pretty good, but that's kind of the range where it's dangerous to throw them out if the opponent starts jumping in haphazardly. They can actually catch you out of the A version at the tail end of it. Still really good to use to control space. But yeah, you just have to be a little bit more mindful of when you do it. This is also the kind of the range where hops and hyper hops are more applicable. So hyper hop or hop jump CD to kind of start creating that pressure scenario, or just throwing out stand A to try to catch the hops into to start your offensive pressure.
I'm gonna with Kelly on this. I'm gonna agree with you on this here. Yeah, definitely. This range where things get a little more dangerous for her, because here's where she can get. She starts to get those wisdom normals that can be punished. And the fireball A, it's good, but at that range, it's a lot easier for them to punish. So when I'm at this mid range, you're gonna see me using that standing A a little more to prevent any hop-ins. When trying to jump in, just gonna see me mashing a little A instead of fireball A now. I'm not using any normals anymore outside of the standing A. And at this range, that's when you try to go for that jump in B mix-up or that jump CD to create that counter opportunity. But yeah, this range, I think she's at the most danger.
Okay. All right. Next is close range, and if y'all want, y'all can go ahead and combine, close range with things to do while you're in the corner, or if the Elizabeth player is on the offense in the corner. And Oscar, you can go ahead and start.
Yeah, close range is it's not that bad for her because that's when now she's able to create damage if she has that opportunity. Standing C, it's working now. Close C, that's where you want to get there. You can get that poke of the standing D2, or at close range, that entire standing B, and maybe go for that low B, and then try to create something going to HD combo. And if you have your opponent in the corner, just hop B, and sometimes what I do is just get really close to them. If like they're waking up, really close to them, hop on my space on neutral jump CD, and try to keep it safe. A lot of people, the block stun on that, it's really heavy, it's really long, so it allows you to create more opportunities. And in a defensive position, in defensive situation, probably the only thing I would go for is EX teleport to either just get out of the situation, maybe not even to counter anything or as a reversal, just to get out of certain situations. You probably see me do like EX teleport, uppercut, EX uppercut. Outside of that, she's got pretty much no little block strings that other than the C4 B uppercut A.
Yeah, so just to add to the corner, if you got the opponent cornered, that's where it gets really fun with Elisabeth, because she has all those different line games and different pressure games. If you can read your opponent really well, you can get a huge amount of damage off of like counter hits. Like, this is kind of where you want to start threatening with the command grab, because as you start threatening with the command grab, they want to start jumping out or like jumping backwards just to try to escape it. And then that's when you switch it up and you either do like A fireball for the counter hit, A or C fireball for the counter hit. And if you get the counter hit, you get the full juggle combo, or go for that jump CD and try to fish for the counter hit there. I kind of view it similar to like how Bala plays like the Kuma when he has people in the corner. He throws with the command grab initially, and then he starts fishing for the counter hit jump CD. If he lines counter hit jump CD, he does that anywhere juggle EX rush punch into the jog cancel combo. So I try to apply that same mindset with Elisabeth when I have him in the corner, just trying to fish for counter hit into high juggle combos, and then while I'm threatening with the command grab.
All right, cool. All right, very, very, very good information. All right. Next section is let's go into some very light character matchup discussion, and what are maybe one or two characters that Elisabeth has trouble with, and what is one character or two or more that Elisabeth has an advantage over? And Oscar, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, definitely I see her struggling really hard against Mr. Karate, XIII. Mr. Karate, especially because he's got that canceling. He can cancel his standing C into a jump in, which gives her really hard time because in general she doesn't have a wake up game, and very few reversals outside of her EX teleport. So he gives her a really hard time. XIII, same thing, because if he gets one of his wreck combos, then again, she's going to be on the wake-up situation, and Yori has that jump C, safe jump C, or cross-up C too. So, yeah, she's a really bad spot with those two characters. However, I do think she's got an advantage against characters like Psyche, Billy King, especially against Billy King, because Billy King, anytime he does a normal with a stick, down A, jump C, jump C D, she can get a counter off of it. So you don't you even at that little mid range distance, if you're just spamming fireball A, you will get a counter every single time he does jump C. Jump C, you get a counter. Um, so a lot of players just go 4A with Billy Kane at the right distance. Try to do 4A. You do fireball A, you'll get a counter. So definitely she's got an advantage against Billy Kane, Psyche. A lot of the Psyche players try to spam fireball, fireball. All she has to do, fireball A, counters them. Same thing.
Yeah, Billy Kane, I don't mind that matchup. It actually specifically put Elisabeth up front just to counter Billy Kane, because most people put Billy Kane right at the front. So yeah,
Right.
definitely like that. I definitely like that matchup. In terms of a hard matchup, yeah, Mr. Karate definitely gives her a hard time. Anyone with really good horizontal jumping normals gives her a hard time because they just out prioritize and outrange her. So if they can apply pressure on Elisabeth consistently, she has a hard time with that. I personally don't like fighting the grapplers with her, like Daimon or Clark. I find those really tough to deal with as well.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with that. I think Diamond especially can give her a really hard time.
Oh god, his normals range is so good. Just out prioritizes Elisabeth and everything. It's so hard.
Alrighty, cool. Winding down. Next topic is about other Elisabeth players, if there still are. Yeah, for a new player, looking for some sort of videos, where they can try to learn and pick up on some stuff playing with Elisabeth on YouTube. What players, besides yourself, Oscar? I mean, if you could think of any, but where should they what should they look for, man? Like, what names come to mind, or what tournaments come to mind where you have displayed some good Elisabeth play, Oscar, or yourself, Killey, or anything?
In all honesty, I can't think of any other player who's currently using Elisabeth. Who's still using Elisabeth. Yeah, no, I can't think of that. And for some footage, maybe some of my early stuff, tournament, participation, like CEO, WGC in France, NEC. Yeah, I guess stuff like that. Trying to look for some Elisabeth matchup. Nothing recent though. I kind of, given in to the pressure of using stronger characters.
Hey man, you gotta play to win. It's just Elisabeth doesn't cut it at tournament level, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah, man, that's sad.
But you know what? I'm still gonna be using her every once in a while. I carry the little A's, and if I detect, if I sense, if I have that little, itch that, hey, my opponent, I don't think he might know this matchup really well, I might just throw it, in there every once in a while, because I still, play with her some casual. So, you never know.
Okay, all right. All right. Well, wrapping up. Why don't we recap a little bit on some of the points made, and just give a new Elisabeth player some general do's and don'ts when learning her. And Killey, why don't you start?
Do's and don'ts of Elisabeth. Don't do wake up EXDP as your go-to reversal. That's a very common weakness. I still fall into that trap once in a while. So yeah, that's something. Just don't do EXDP on wake up. It's not good. You might catch someone who's unfamiliar with it at first, but people who are familiar, it's too easy to bait it out and punish. Dudes, let's see. You have to get your execution down with Elisabeth. It's like mandatory requirement. It's the only way you can capitalize off of her hits, off of like those stray hits, and maximize her damage into reset scenarios or safe jumps, stuff like that. Have a really good eye. Try to develop that good eye for counter hits, because if you can capitalize off of a stray counter hit, you can swing momentum into your favor and then continue offensive pressure.
Okay. Oscar?
Well, don't put it as an anchor. I mean, put it on point or a second. Like I said, unless you're sure she's going to have at least 2 or 3 meters and almost a full drive by the time, she's in anchor position, go for it. But if not, don't. And if you don't have her combos down, don't even think about it. And do practice a lot. And I would say practice counter hit situations. I'm going to be with Kelly in this, a lot of the times the only opportunity you're going to get to do damage with her, it's off a counter. So, you need to be able to recognize that counter, and immediately, if you have a meter and a drive, don't ever hesitate to go into uppercut A, EX fireball to extend a combo. Whether you can do the follow-up with the teleport B and cancel into a fireball C and then the whole thing, or you just go uppercut A, EX fireball, and then just 2 more uppercuts, that's fine, but be always looking for that opportunity and practice those situations, because it is going to happen. She's got a really good jump CD, so always, try to use it and abuse it, and look for those counter possibilities. Yeah, and don't be afraid to use her meter for block strings. A lot of people, just save the meter to, go for, a super or EX move. With Elisabeth, just try to create, probably the best thing you're going to get out of a meter, it's just guard meter damage, so just keep in mind that, it's Elisabeth. She's not, your average other character, and just try to go for that guard meter damage, even if it takes a little more meter with the EX fireball. Another thing I don't use a Grand Raphael unless it's to kill.
Yes, I hate it when people use Grand Raphael off of the simple juggle combos, because the reset situation you get off of the DPAs into the jump A is ridiculous. Like, there's so many mix-ups you get off of that, safe jump setups as well. I'd rather see players go for that rather than end it in Grand Raphael.
That is correct. So you don't have to, but in my experience, in my advice, I don't use Grand Raphael unless it's to kill. If I'm going to kill you, even if it's just going to be like a 25 damage or just one more hit, if I have to give you one more standing A, and guess what? Grand Raphael is anywhere you go, and I can use it, I'm going to use it. You bet your ass I'm going to get that KO, use Grand Raphael, just get the little extra 5 damage.
Yeah, because with Elisabeth, you got to capitalize off of those opportunities, right? Like,
yeah,
you could try to save the meter, but opening them up afterwards is not as easy, and so it can come back and bite you in the ass, and you could lose Elisabeth off of that if you didn't just spend that meter to kill them off.
Yeah, so that's one of my rules. I only use Grand Raphael to kill. Besides that, in the middle of mid-screen or corner or during the middle of the match, every single time I'm going to try to go for a mix-up or a reset.
Cool. Man, that's very interesting, because it was funny because we have a local Elisabeth player, and we used to kind of give him some stuff about always doing the resets or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And now y'all saying go for the reset and only do the super to kill, and wow, it's making me rethink about what I said.
Because the main problem with Grand Raphael, it scales too much now. It used to do so much damage in arcade, but it doesn't do enough damage now. So it's not really worth spending the bar to do it. Because, yeah, you might get the hard knockdown, but you get nothing after the hard knockdown. Like, you don't really get any mix-up opportunities off of it. So you might as well save the meter, and then the reset situation you get is so good because there's so many options Elizabeth gets off of that reset.
Yeah, and spend that meter trying to go for a mix-up into, an EX teleport or an EX command grab or bait a bun press or a jump back and go for that EX uppercut, EX teleport, EX command grab.
Word. Yeah, that's very interesting. All right. Well, I think I'm gonna wrap this episode up. Man, the answer, Killey. Thank you so much. This is just some. This is a real treat. This is just such so much of good information about this character, man, and not many people pick her. You know what I'm saying? So thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. I try to dump all of my knowledge into that wiki. So everything is pretty much everything I know about that character is in there.
All right, cool. Yeah, man, and it's pretty well written, man. Thanks so much for tackling it.
No problem.
Cool. Well,
Thank you.
cool. Well, I think that's about it for this episode. We just finished talking about Elisabeth with Oscar the Answer and Killey, and that's about it, y'all. Peace.